Tucked away in the scrub sit three monolithic figures that feel like creations from an ancient world. Quiet guardians in the bush, weathered by time. Are they Egyptian, or are they something entirely different? They're called the three mysteries of life, or as they were once described, the three mysteries of the mountains. For decades they've sat here, once visible to all, but over time the scrub has been left to run supreme. They were carved in 1986 and 1987 by sculptor, stonemason and storyteller Saul Munro. Saul lived life through his art. He studied ancient Akkadian cuneiform at Sydney University, loved biblical imagery and spoke in stories that seemed to tumble out of some other time. Judge Elizabeth Everett commissioned the work in memory of her mother-in-law, Marjorie Andreas. Even before they were finished, an American collector offered to buy them. They weren't for sale, but the offer itself said something about their value. They stand roughly 2 metres tall, carved from solid Gosford sandstone, the same stone that built much of Sydney and set in the scrub peering across the expanse of Kadumba Valley. When they appeared, not everyone was impressed. A few locals complained to the Everetts that the statues were an eyesore, but the work went on. These sculptures weren't the only work of Saul. He also made elaborate mosaics and smaller sculptures which used to be scattered around the grounds of former Leuralla Toy and Railway Museum in Leura, adding his own quiet mythology to the place. Saul was one of those characters who seemed too colourful to be real. Later in his life, he had a small stall at the Windsor craft markets, selling clay houses, spinning tops and whatever else had taken his fancy at the time. He was a born storyteller. Sometimes tall tales, sometimes stories of ex-lovers, and occasionally a scandal. One story recalled his exhibit being shut down at the local library after he called a woman a harlot for cutting the queue at the photocopier. That was Saul, brilliant, eccentric, and entirely unfiltered. But his work didn't stay confined to the mountains. For that, we need to take a little trip down to Sydney. Here at Circular Quay, a pair of stone faces stare out from the pedestals at the bottom of more steps. They were originally built in 1868 as a passage between wool stores, linking Tarpean Way to the waterfront. Beautiful steps, mind you, using local sandstone for the balustrades and a more hard-wearing Melbourne bluestone for the steps. The carved reliefs weren't put there by local council or by any heritage commission. Sometime in the mid-1970s, Saul carved them quietly, at night. And when approached by police or security, he told them he'd received a commission to do them. He was lying through his teeth, but they believed him, and the faces remain to this day. If you walk further into the CBD, along Macquarie Street, a menorah relief can be seen in the curb. A small 7-branch symbol cut directly into the stone. Saul did that too, around 1987, while working on the bicentennial paving works on Macquarie Street. It was his thing, biblical imagery left like breadcrumbs across the city. Today, the three mysteries of life sit largely unnoticed. Part art, part relic, part riddle. And like many things in the Blue Mountains, you almost have to know they're there before you can find them. Saul Munro died aged 68 in 2016, but the marks he carved into sandstone, stairways and city streets never really left. They're still watching, still whispering, still waiting for someone to ask who made them and why.